It's easy to get overwhelmed in all the metrics in your ad account. In fact, there are more than 350 metrics in your Facebook Ads Manager. This sounds insane and this will only overwhelm you. So what I'm gonna do in this video, I'm gonna simplify that and I'm gonna show you only the most relevant metrics for your business. And by the end of this video, we'll reduce those metrics to at maximum around 30. In Facebook Ads Manager, we have a drop-down where we can select some presets of columns from Facebook. But usually what I do, I create my own set of columns that it's much easier to follow and it's giving me a much clearer picture of what's going on in my ad account so I can make much smarter decisions. And I'm gonna show you exactly how I customize my columns for every single ad account that I am working on. The first four metrics are delivery, date created, amount spent, and budget. Now these ones, they are not extremely important, but I just want to know for me when I created what is the delivery, is that in the learning phase, is that in the active phase or in the learning limited. I just want to know that because that will tell me some kind of ideas about that specific campaign. Again, with date created, I just want to know when I created that campaign, because when I have multiple ads, I can get lost and I can forget when I created that ad. With budget and amount spent, I think I don't need to clarify here. It's pretty straightforward. It's basically how much you spend and how much money you are spending for that ad. Now here it's getting more interesting. What I love to do, I love to start with the metrics that are telling me what is the performance from the bottom of funnel towards the top of the funnel. So first I start with the metrics like purchase return on ad spend, the purchases in terms of amount, the purchase conversion value, and the cost per acquisition or the cost per purchase. Now this is something that you want to pay attention, especially to the return on ad spend and your cost per purchase. And the rule that I follow is when I look at the ad level, not at the ad set level where I'm testing audiences or at the campaign level, I'm talking about the ad level where you are testing your creatives. So there, if your lifetime spend is 2x of your cost per purchase, then simply cut that ad with no emotions. Like literally, if you observe that your cost per purchase, let's say on average, is $30 and your lifetime spend is $60 and you have not got any purchases, just simply cut that ad because most likely it's not gonna generate you any sales. At that time, you're just leaving money on the table. When we go further, next I'm gonna have the metrics that are related to the checkout. So I'm gonna have checkouts initiated in terms of volume, the amount of checkouts initiated, cost per checkout initiated, and the conversion value of checkouts. Now I want to follow that because I want to see the discrepancy between checkouts initiated and purchases. If I see that the discrepancy is higher than usually 50%, then in that case, there is a problem with the checkout. Most likely it's because some unhidden taxes or shipping fees, or the checkout process is quite complicated, that is stopping people to take action and move forward. So you're gonna work on that. After checkout, I do the same with add to cart. And again, I want you to follow the discrepancy between add to cart and checkouts initiated. If I see again it's higher than 50%, then there is a problem at the cart page. Usually the problem with a lot of add to cart is that people do not trust your brand. They kind of like your product, that's why they are adding to their cart, but there is no enough social proof. And guess what? I do the same with content views. I have two columns instead here, only content views in terms of volume and cost per content view. If the discrepancy between content views and add to cart is high, then the problem is in your landing page. It doesn't have enough value, it doesn't tell a story, and it doesn't help a person to see why they should choose you, your brand, instead of your competitors. After setting up the columns that they are telling me what is going on outside of Facebook, I also create some custom columns. Now these are not in the Ads Manager, but you also can create custom columns. And that is average order value and your conversion rate. To create your own metric, what you gotta do is when you are customizing your sets, click on the create custom metric and there you insert the formula. I'll make sure I'll put here a screenshot so you can see what is the formula for average order value. So the reason we wanna have these metrics in your ads manager is because some ads, they will have a much higher average order value. those ads you should definitely follow. You have to take a look whatever patterns, whether customer purchased more from that particular ad than the other ones, and then take that as a guide and create more content like that. With conversion rate, it's the same thing. You look which ones have a much higher number of conversions, and then you create more ads that have similarities and different patterns from that winning ad. Okay, so now we will talk about some of the metrics that tell us more about our ad creatives, our ad copies, and in overall how the campaign is performing. So the first metric is what I call 3-second hook. Now, this is again a custom metric that you gotta create. So here's a screenshot on how to create this one. And basically this one is going to track in terms of percentage how many people are stopping at your ads. One iterative testing that you gotta do in your ads manager all the time is testing the first 3 seconds. Basically the hook, the action, the thing that is stopping the viewer or the user from scrolling on their feed or through swiping through stories. Usually when this metric has a much higher percentage, also the return on ad spend is higher. But sometimes there are some exceptions here. Next one is video retention. It's again a custom metric where you can create like this, and this one will tell us in terms of, again, percentage, how many people are watching the entire video. So overall, these metrics, they are telling us how our ad creatives are performing. And one more that I want to emphasize when it comes to tracking the performance of my ads is engagement rate. Because nowadays I notice quite frequently that when I have a much higher social proof in terms of like likes, shares, comments, also the conversion rate suddenly is higher as well. So time to time I also test ads with social proof and with no social proof, because I really want to know if likes and shares they affect the results of my overall ad campaign. I know that a question that will come up is what is a good percentage for having for 3-second hook, video retention, engagement rate, and that simply depends on your business. There is not a magic percentage. For every single business is different. For some businesses, I observed that when it comes to the 3-second hook, at 20 to 30%, that is working quite well. For other businesses, I observed that actually 50% is working much better. When you don't know your numbers yet, what I would recommend is looking at your return on ad spend first. And when you see that you have a high return on ad spend for a specific ad, also look at the video hook, or look at your video retention and see kind of a pattern between those two metrics. And then that will tell you in the future what is a good percentage for your brand. Other metrics that I also follow are reach, impressions, and frequency. I put them together because they kind of make sense and they kind of relate to each other. So reach is how many people you've reached. Impressions is like in total how many times your ads has been shown to. So for example, if a person saw 2 times your ad, that will count as 2 impressions and only 1 reach. And frequency is on average how many times a person saw your ad. If you have a frequency of 2, that means on average a person saw your ad 2 times. Then we have CPM, which stands for cost per 1,000 impressions. I wanna look at my CPM time to time to see if it's around 20 and up to $30. If it's above 30, that means maybe there is a problem with my targeting. Now, naturally, I want to emphasize that for retargeting campaigns, your CPM is going to be much higher. So if you see for retargeting that you have $30, that might be okay because the audience is very, very small. Because a low CPM is happening only when you are targeting a broad audience. The next metrics are CTR, which stands for click-through rate, and cost per click, or CPS. So these two ones, again, they are telling me how good are our ads and how much they are resonating with the audience that we are targeting. So often when you have a high cost per 1,000 impression and also a high click-through rate, that means that you are targeting a pretty competitive audience, but your ads are pretty good. When you have a low CTR, usually below 1%, and a very high cost per click, then in that case, the problem might be in your ad creatives or your ad copies. I want to leave you with one thought. So when you are analyzing your ads, look at every single metric. And of course, if you see that you have a high cost per click, usually above $1, a low click-through rate, lower than 1%, then yes, in that case, most likely is the problem in your ad creatives. But If you see that you have like very low cost per click and like very low add to cart, in that case the problem is there, not in your ads. This is a mistake that many business owners are making. They are assuming that if the ad campaign is not working, then it's only and only the problem in their ads, in their campaigns. But actually that might not be the case. Now you know in this short period of time what are the most important metrics to track for optimizing your ads. And I have a video where I talk in details about how to optimize your ads using very simple formulas. Now don't be scared when I say formulas. It's not gonna be a math class. It's literally very easy and that will take your ads to the next level. So check out that video right here.